Well, howdy there, Internet people. It's Dana again, and today you're at Research Road. This is a weekly series where we go through science and tech news with a bit of dry humor. Then we answer some questions from y'all. Today is the 10th of December 2024, and on this date in 1901, the first Nobel Prizes were awarded. One of them went to the person who discovered X-rays. So, starting off with tech news. Google says it solved a major quantum computing challenge. It says a new chip helped solve a computational problem in 5 minutes. According to Google, a traditional computing system would have taken a bit longer to solve the problem, about 1 billion years. If Google's claims on this are even remotely accurate, a whole lot of science fiction is about to become science fact. After a U.S. appeals court upheld the legislation, TikTok is moving closer to a U.S. ban, which might force the sale of the platform in the U.S. Russia is still getting its hands on U.S. chips and using them for military applications. They're reportedly using third-party countries and getting them without the manufacturer's knowledge. The shadowy cyber battle over U.S. telecommunications is ongoing. If you missed it, the warning has gone out to start using end-to-end encryption on your phone because of possible intrusion into your text. The current recommendation is the app called Signal. And now on to space. NASA's Artemis 2 has been delayed until 2026, and Artemis 3 has been pushed back to 2027. These are the missions set to return humanity to the moon. An image from the space station appears to show a bunch of tiny little floating lights near Earth. Some took to calling them space fireflies. They're just Starlink satellites. In related news, China is launching its own low Earth orbit satellite constellation. Researchers are suggesting Earth's oceans came from comet strikes. Now it's time to talk about the developing climate crisis. The United Nations Convention to Combat Desertification issued a report saying that about 75% of the Earth is permanently drier than it was in the 1990s. In unrelated news, I'm looking for some old Tank Girl and Mad Max stuff. NOAA and the Department of Energy are going to begin monitoring geoengineering efforts around the world, specifically those aimed at mitigating climate change. In Idaho, the Bureau of Land Management has approved the installation of 231 wind turbines in the Lava Ridge Wind Project. The Bureau of Land Management is required by Trump's 2017 Tax Cuts and Job Act to auction off land inside a wildlife refuge in Alaska. Biden has ordered the auction to only include the bare minimum amount of acreage to satisfy the law. In the world of animals, the world's oldest known bird, which is a Lassan albatross, laid an egg. The bird is said to be 74 years old. New research indicates that dog became humanity's best friend about 12,000 years ago in Alaska. That's about 2,000 years earlier than believed. It's worth remembering that domestication of canines happened in multiple places at multiple times. It was a long journey from a wild dog occasionally taking scraps of food to Fido begging at the dining room table. In health news, Japan is concerned about birth rates. To encourage more births, it is instituting a 4-day work week. Life expectancy growth in the United States is expected to lag behind other nations. By 2050, U.S. life expectancy is expected to rank even lower than today. Right now, the U.S. is 49th. Now let's dig up the past a little. A 6-year-old boy was walking along the beach in Sussex, England, when he found a cool rock. He kept the rock for 3 years. Well, it turns out his cool rock is actually a 50,000-year-old Upper Paleolithic Neanderthal hand axe. An archaeological site in Wyoming produced evidence of something long suspected about human survival during the last ice age, but not really well demonstrated by evidence. Archaeologists found more than 30 needle fragments made from the bones of smaller animals. These are the type of needles needed to tailor clothing for warmth. Prior to the invention of the smaller needles, tools called awls would have been used to create clothing that was baggier and didn't hold heat as well. person was arrested for allegedly vandalizing petroglyphs in southern Arizona. And now on to oddities. European satellites designed to create an artificial solar eclipse have been launched. That's really not that odd. It's just a science experiment, but a lot of sensationalist coverage includes phrases like European satellites to blot out the sun. I just felt like it should be mentioned. It's not a big deal. If you want to look deeper into it, the mission name is called Praba 3. And now we're going to answer some of your questions.
Dana, what do you know about Russia's Cosmos 2553 satellite? The stuff I see is scary. It's a satellite to launch nukes, is that right?
Not really. It's a satellite with an alleged nuclear capability, but not really to launch nukes in the way most would think. The information that's available says it's designed to take out other satellites, but the reporting also says that it currently doesn't actually have a nuke on board.
I just saw something that said the universe is expanding faster than our current understanding of the universe can explain. As somebody who is obviously a big believer in science, I'm just wondering what crosses your mind when you find out a belief you have is wrong.
Personally, I get excited. That's something entirely new to learn about. Science isn't a religion. It's not about answers, it's about questions. We will never have all of the answers to the universe because you can't fully understand a system you are a part of. Our path forward as a species lies in answering as many questions as we can and applying those answers in a way that betters all of our lives. As a more direct answer to the specific question and topic you brought up, I thought, cool, more evidence in support of the dark energy theory. If that theory turns out to be wrong, I'll change my opinion of it when new evidence becomes available. I'm a science person, not a politician. Flip-flopping is good, actually.
What do you think is the most important lesson to be learned from Star Trek?
That in the absence of the need to scrape out an existence due to a failed governmental, economic, and societal system, humanity can become its best version of itself.
Do you believe that humans will eventually merge with technology in a meaningful way that allows for close interactions and blurs the lines between humanity and technology?
Y'all got really philosophical this week with the questions. I like it. To answer the question with a question, are you aware that you sent an email to reach another person who will answer you via an artificial voice that you'll probably hear through an electronic device that you probably keep with you at all times and was probably used to send the email that started the exchange? Humanity's great gift is its ability to merge with technology. Our entire species changed with the discovery of fire, the wheel, irrigation, sails, and so on. It'll continue to. I think we've already merged with electronic technology on a level people may not widely recognize. If you're talking about using technology to augment ourselves, I would say that's already happening as well. That looks like all the questions for this week. This week's quote is attributed to Professor Hubert J. Farnsworth. I devoted every waking minute to answering the fundamental questions of science. I never married, rarely went outside, and now that I've found all the answers, I realize that what I was living for were the questions. He then went on to say, Fry, you idiot. You're a genius. Why are the laws of physics what they are, instead of some other laws? To find out, we'd have to recreate the conditions before the Big Bang. It would take decades of work by thousands of scientists in a particle accelerator powered by dump trucks of flaming grant money. So that's all the data we have to date. Hope you enjoyed it and hope to see you again soon.